He's eating snow all the time. He's happy. You can see on the tail. Hey, we can eat snow when we are out walking. Because yesterday we did 14 kilometers on our own land here. And yeah, I didn't have any camera with me. But yeah, if I had a camera with me, then I wouldn't have done anything. So guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Survival Russia. Today we're gonna take a little look at the pocket survival kit from a native Siberian helicopter pilot. But let's find us a place to sit down, collect our thoughts, and yeah, this is our land as well. And see what's gonna happen. See what we have. Because the Siberian helicopter pilot there, he actually had two things which he had more, but there was two things that I was very happy about seeing him have, because I carry the same stuff. And one of the things we carried in a very, very similar way. It's very, very funky, actually. It just goes to show, I think, that we do the same things. We do much the same things, doesn't matter where we are, who we are. As long as we're out in the wilderness, we have an understanding of things. And it's kind of universal. So yeah, let's find a place to sit. The boss is out there patrolling. Awesome. Oh, we had snow, as you can see. Like 15 centimeters or something. Not too bad. Not too bad. He has important stuff to do. Boss! Silky. Sexy people. Okay, so there was this and okay, there was nothing to do especially with me, but there was a big gathering of vehicles and this and this and that, and there was another very like an old retired native Siberian helicopter pilot, you know, with his fur hat and his big emblem of the Russian Federation and all that funky stuff there. And he had this under his jacket. He has a vest on, like a fishing vest or survival vest or what you can call it, with a lot of small pockets. And of course, the people asked him, "What do you carry? What do you have in your pockets?" And so on. And then he said, "Oh, let's see, yeah, I'll show you." And then, of course, what he said was, first of all, my knife. He has his knife, of course. So that goes without saying, kind of. Here's my two knives, Victorinox, Trailmaster, and the Feldkniven F1, which is actually a pilot survival knife. That's what it is. That's what it's described as. Super awesome knife. All right. So, as I said, he had in his pocket kit, so I packed a little bit in the pockets here. That's one thing I couldn't pack in the pocket really. I also brought some things with me that I have in my little pouch that I spoke about, which I don't always bring, but sometimes bring, right? So let's see, let's get to it. What do we have here? Are we gonna save this little guy here for later, I think. Yeah, we're gonna save this one for later. But here we have a fishing kit. This is just a good old container for some vitamins. You can see we have some fishing line. I'm not gonna open it up now, because it's gonna be hell to get back in, because it's full. But there's a fishing line, sinkers, hooks, some I don't know what you call them in English, but yeah, you're a little bit candid. Well, stuff that looks like fish. Lures. So that's what we have in this one. It's a little bit big. The Siberian helicopter pilot there, he had some small packages, you know, with the hooks and line and so on, also just wrapped up. But she also was cordage, of course. He had cordage. He had just like nothing fancy, just a length of cordage in his laying around in his pocket. Then he of course had matches, and I have some matches here in different configurations, and these guys here, I actually have a package of them in this jacket here, like permanently, you know, like the matches. They can always be useful. And one thing that's good about matches is that if you don't really have any tinder or something, you can make a little bit of a pyramid of the matches themselves, and then you actually have a little bit of tinder. But here we have some matches in this guy here, and the striker and so on. So that was what he had, matches. No lighter, just matches. But needless to say, he was pretty old school. He was most likely 70-something or something like that. But he was a cool guy, definitely. Then he had a sharpening stone. And I also have a sharpening stone. It's not a sharpening stone. This is a piece of very hard foam. It weighs nothing. And I just glued some abrasive on both sides. One is 320 grit, the other one is 800 grit. 800 grit is not really that fine, but it definitely works for a knife or an axe when you're out in the field and have to do something, right? 320 is pretty coarse, but if you need to sharpen or straighten an edge on a knife or an axe or something, you need something coarse to remove the burr or whatever that we screwed up, right? And then just an 800 to polish it off with. I normally at home use like 360 if it's really coarse. And then I use 1500 grit and 4000 grit for all of my knives and axes. But you know, knives and stuff like that, sharpening them too much is no good. They're gonna dull super fast anyway if you're using them in a woodsman's way. Then he had a sewing kit. I also have a sewing kit here actually, and the sewing kit he had in a small wooden tube. I just have this tube. This is another tube from some Accel. I don't know, like some tablets you can dump in water and they dissolve. I don't really even remember what this is for, but they're super useful, these containers here, because they're waterproof and stuff. So I have a little sewing kit here. We can take a fast look at it, just like the old timer there showed us. But here we have a sewing kit, some really tough line. We have three needles, a really big coarse one and two smaller ones wrapped around this tube here. And if I need to stitch something, I can do it with this line here. It's like a nylon line. It's a little bit like a very thin bank line, you can see. And it's already attached to a needle, part of it anyways. So that's the sewing kit. So that was one of the things that I was like, hey, I also have a sewing kit. I also have it in a in a round container. Tablin. What the hell? What's going on here? On the container here, you can see we have a little. Are we focusing or what? We have some electrical tape. And that is of course useful for all kinds of stuff, except when it's too cold and doesn't work. Then there was the last thing he made, or not he made, the last thing he's shown, and I made a little thingy, exactly like he had it, because it's a cool way to carry this stuff here. But what he had was wire, metal wire. I carry steel wire, he carried copper wire. All of us sappers and engineers and so on, we know that copper wire and brass wire is ideal for trip lines. But here we have it. A little funky device, looks like this here. With wire. This can be in a pocket. I'll show you. Right here, I have a little pocket here. Like that. Everything should be able to be stored in a little bit of pocket, so that everything is kind of like the size of a game of playing cards or a pack of cigarettes or something like this. But he pulled this out and said, this can save your life. Pretty awesome. This can save your life. That's actually what it can. That's what he said. This can save your life. There's a dog. He can also save your life actually, but that's a different topic. This guy definitely can. But those were the things that he's shown. Maybe he had more stuff in his pockets. That's highly likely, because as I said, this vest was full of pockets. Very small pockets, like this size here. But as I say, I don't really believe that much in survival kits like that. And why? I mean, yeah, he carried the fishing kit all the time because he's a pilot. Pilots, what do? They follow the rivers mostly anyway, right? So that's a very smart thing to have always. And he's not hiking anything, and the fishing kit doesn't really weigh anything either. But guys, that's basically the kit from the Siberian native helicopter pilot. Pretty interesting, as I say. So nothing more to say than please check the links in the description. Please consider supporting the channel and all that good stuff. Until next time, get out and train, get done, do something awesome. See you in the next video, guys. Thank you very much for your time.